Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm just going to go through a run through of a basic local multiplayer system, and I mean basic. This is very stage one, prototyped, thrown together. So basically, one of the users of the Discord, actually, I think he commented on YouTube first. Actually, sort of asked how to sort of implement a local multiplayer system in a board game style game where each person takes a turn one after another. Now, just to sort of get the ball rolling on this, this is what I've thrown together. So effectively, we've got a top-down level, and obviously the functionality has not been restricted in any way, so the player can just run around. But then in the top left, when we press end turn, which obviously, like I said, it's bare bones, this can be after so many clicks, after a 5 minute, not 5 minutes, a bit too much, after 30 seconds, after a minute of time, it can switch over with a countdown. There's lots to build on. This is the skeleton at this point. End turn, it switches over to the other player, which then can go around and do whatever they need to do. End turn, switches back, and effectively all we're doing, which is pretty much it, we're just moving possession from one character to another. So effectively the controller, it's the same controller, there's not two different controllers, it's one controller, but the controller is being told to control the other character rather than the one it currently is. And with there only being two players, we're just effectively flip-flopping between the two available characters. But we've got room to expand this how we will. I'll just open up the blueprints and we'll take a look. Okay, so what we've got here is the game mode. It's not necessarily has to be put in the game mode. This is just where it felt more natural for me because it was more accessible everywhere. Okay, so what we've got, event begin play. So when we start playing, the first thing that I do is I just put the sort of user interface on the screen with the button. And the actual user interface itself is simply just this end turn button and a text block which is updated via a function. Nothing too dramatic in there. When the button's pressed, we switch between which player we're doing, and then we call this change player function, which we'll come back to this. So once we've got the UI on the screen, we then set the active player number to number 1. So what player is currently actively being controlled right now, we're just setting that variable to 1 just to make sure that it is set. Obviously you can set that to 1 by default. I just like to make sure that that is set. Then what we do is at the beginning of the game, because I have placed these characters in the game, so obviously player 1 or player 0, depending on how you look at it, player 1 effectively gets spawned as you would in any game using the player start, and then the second character, just because I've not got any spawn logic set up, but it could be, I've just placed the second character in the world. Now what I've done is on the actual character itself, if I go to the search bar and just type in tag, what I've done is I've added an actor tag called player. And then in the player 2, what I've done is if I search for tag here, you'll see that it is a player, but it also has the tag of player 2. So why that comes into consideration is this get all actors of class just looks over the map and finds anything with that initial player tag, which they all do. Obviously that gives you an array of players, and then I simply loop through each of the players, and if I get to one that has another tag or a tag that says player 2, if that happens to be true, I set that actor reference or the player reference as player 2, and I have the false as player 1. Now obviously you could broaden this up with sort of select on int or something like that, or select, it depends which way you want to do it, and make as many of these players as you want. I probably won't go too far. And then obviously you've got an actual physical, kind of physical in-game reference to those players. And then simply what we do is, based on that active player number, so this is just a custom event, and we're using the controller as a target for this. So you'll find this if you drag off the controller. So get player controller, which will default to your controller anyway, typically. Get possess, and then any of the characters that you pass into it will be taken control of by this controller. So simply, all we do is, obviously we set the active player number to 1 here, because you spawn, you are the first player. This is set to 1, which in terms of indexing, I need to take 1 away from it to get 0. So 0 is player 1 and option 1 is player 2. And then we just possess that. And what changes this number is, this is when we go back to the UI. Effectively, I'm doing a flip-flop. So when I first press it, it sets the player to 2. And then we call change player. And then the next time I press it, it sets it back to 1. And then we're effectively just possessing each time. So it's just this, we're just possessing. Now, so there's no transition, there's no smooth moving over. All that can come later. This is just as basic as it becomes. So effectively, what you could do is, because this possession runs on an event, this change player event, providing you are actually changing the active number, can be called from anywhere. So if you've got a game loop running somewhere else, which is like when a certain condition's met, when this timer reaches 0, which means you've had your 30 seconds to make your move, call change player and switch it. You can probably even add this get the next player into the same change player. So depending on what the current player is, the next player along might be player 2. You may have something set up where what is it? So I think in like a couple of games, the speed of a character determines who goes next. So if you've got a character of a speed 4, he's going to go first. Someone who's got a speed of 2 is going to go after that. Someone who's got a speed 1 goes last. And there is no one with speed 3. Sort of like a hierarchy of who goes first, depending on stats. Like I said, there's so many different ways that this can be used. This is just a very, very basic, bare bones way of switching from one active player to another, or character, sorry. Oh, yeah, characters, players. Again, it's all open to interpretation. That's the problem with doing these really vague systems like this. It gives you enough idea to be like, oh, that's how I could do it. But because there's so many different directions of how you can take this, or features, or thinking of different ways it's implemented in games, that's the end of the round, switch player. That's the end of your sort of play timer. You get 30 seconds to make a move, change player. This player's died, go back to the previous alive character. There's so many different ways, but just the basic possession of how to control multiple characters on one machine. Effectively, this is the route that I would go down, and you'd just make some animations, you'd make some transitions between one player to another, not just an instant snap like that. You'd make it a little bit better. Anyway, so I wanted to keep this video short. I'm sort of blabbering on a little bit. We're nearly at 10 minutes, so that's sweet. If this helped you in any way, please consider giving me a like. If you want to see more videos, consider subscribing. My videos have slowed down quite significantly due to family and work related things, but I'm fully active in Discord, more or less. So if you need any sort of immediate help, message me in Discord and you'll get a response a lot quicker than through YouTube. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Any ideas that you want me to build onto this, or if you want to sort of throw some ideas down, leave them in the comments. I'll see where we can take this. My priority for this particular project is what the user in Discord really wants me to go, because he's the person who sort of started this, and I'm gonna lean towards what he wants. But if there's enough requests for sort of alternative versions of it, then for sure we can go down that route. But yeah, we've just breached the 10-minute mark. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in another one. Bye.